Hello there, this is Christy, and I'm coming to you today reading Namjoon's bookshelf. Now, I'm getting my information about his bookshelf from a library website, VPL Bibliocommons. I obviously have been loving Namjoon's Instagram, and I remember seeing a picture that he posted of his bookshelf, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's there anymore. Maybe he deleted the bookshelf photo, I'm not sure. I'm very excited because Faust by Goethe was on the list, and I've been wanting to read this for forever. So this is a German book, and it's about a man who gives his soul over to the devil for a period of time so that he can live out his fantasies. As we know, he's a big brain. I'm not sure how long this vlog is going to go. I'm just kind of going to give you my thoughts on the books as I read them. I have a BTS concert tomorrow that I'm doing online with one friend who is also ARMY, and then I have the delayed live show of it is coming up on the next Friday. Oh, I didn't even see it. Is he wearing a cast?
That sounds like a real beauty to me. You like this guy? He likes football, ribs, goes to church. Hell, I'd date him. Are you crazy? Dating a guy like that? That's like buying a car that's been in a bad accident. You think it's fine, and one day you go to... We don't need to worry, 'cause where we go, we know how to land. Don't need to talk, just walk.
Hello there, guys. It's been quite a while since I updated you last about reading Namjoon's bookshelf. And that's because partly I was really trying hard to read Goethe's Faust and really struggling hard with it. I think it's really beautiful. I think it's very profound. And I'm really glad that Namjoon read it because I'm sure it just really fed his brain. But I personally was really struggling with it. Like, it's just so long for a play, I think. So I'm actually currently going to continue listening to the play. Regardless, I did finish a different book that Namjoon has mentioned, and that was Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. This one was so easy to read. This one was like a breeze to read through. This one is translated from Japanese, and I've heard a lot of good things about her short stories. So I was really excited to try this one, and it turned out to be such a refreshing, just easy novella to read. It's really about grief and food and the power that food has to make community between people and kind of heal grief. It's really just a beautiful story about a girl who's just lost her grandmother. She's really a young woman, and so she's living alone in her flat, and she literally is sleeping in the kitchen where she used to share with her grandmother the flat. She ends up meeting a boy who worked in her grandma's favorite flower shop and ends up moving in with the boy and his trans mother. Because this book was written quite a while ago, the portrayal of the trans woman is like a little bit probably off compared to today's standards. So just expect that going in if you pick this book up, but it really was a lovely story, like I said, about connection and belonging and grief and food. And when I was looking at his bookshelf, I realized there's actually quite a few that I've actually already read, like the brothers Karamazov, which I'm a big fan of Fyodor Dostoevsky. He is my favorite Russian writer, and I think he's amazing. But that book I found very difficult. I thought it was very profound, and I completely fell in love with one of the characters, Alyosha. It's about three brothers and their troubled relationships with each other and with their father. It's just like so dramatic. It's like a Russian soap opera, but it has these really high moral stakes, and it's arguing about good and evil. And really it's about good and evil and how good and God, you know, the best argument for them is that there are people out there who live in such a way to prove that there is good, versus there's this famous chapter in it where the atheist is arguing against the existence of God and against the existence of goodness. And that's a very convincing argument for a lot of people, and some people feel like it really upstages any argument for good that Dostoevsky Dostoevsky could have made, but I think that's kind of Dostoevsky's point, is that really the argument for good is that people live it out. I just think that's very profound, and I hope that RM also got a lot out of it and enjoyed it, and hopefully it got him thinking about spiritual matters as well. I always kind of hope that for them. I pray that for BTS all the time. So, and I would recommend it if you're a big brain like Namjoon, although it's not the place I would recommend starting with Dostoevsky. But I'm just so pleased that he went right in and started with it, because I think it fits his brain to start there. It's like if you want to start with his greatest masterpiece, then you can start there. But there are works of his that are more accessible and also just really amazing, wonderful books. And also Guns, Germs, and Steel, which I haven't read the whole thing of, but I've listened to long portions of it. And it really is talking about why different nations have experienced different things throughout history, why some have risen to prominence and power while others have been subjected. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with the people. Like, for example, in the Americas, there were no horses, and the number of like large pack animals that Europe had really helped them to grow as a civilization to a different place than people in the Americas were able to, because they didn't have the same large animals to help them accomplish more work. And interesting stuff like that. Really, really fascinating book. That's it for now, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye. Just got my first dulcet bibimbap. Very excited. I've just started mixing it, and the rice is like cooking on the bottom. Smells so good. I think I'm gonna skip the spicy sauce though. Hello there, guys. So BTS just did their Busan concert last night, so that just shows you how much time has passed since I started this vlog with you guys. Really, the holdup for me was trying to read Goethe's Faust, because I really struggled with it, and I think it's just like a little bit too big brain for me, even though it's very beautiful and I enjoyed parts of it quite a bit. I saved a quote, and this is Mephisto talking. Mephisto is the demon that the man Dr. Faustus sells his soul to. I'm part of the part which was all at first, a part of the dark out of which the light burst, arrogant light which now usurps the air and seeks to thrust night from her ancient chair to no avail. Since light is one with all, things bodily, making them beautiful, streams from them is reflected, since light by matters manifested, when by degrees all matters burnt up and no more, why then light shall not matter anymore. Mephisto is portrayed really well in all of the Dr. Faustus retellings that I have read or watched so far. So because I wasn't able to actually finish reading this version of Faust, I did actually go ahead and enjoy the German movie by Murnau, which was an adaptation of this Faust by Goethe, and I really loved the movie. I thought that the way they characterized Dr. Faustus was more convincing, I think, than in a lot of the versions of Faust that I have read. Like, I really could see where he could go from a doctor of high repute and how he is just like tempted down and down and down. And I thought the ending of the movie was a little bit anticlimactic, but I feel like probably if I had powered through and been able to read Faust, the ending would have been like really, really good and probably better than the movie version. Isn't that always the case? But regardless, I really enjoyed what I read of Faust. I just don't think that it's going to be one that I'm going to be able to finish in any sort of time. I really want to finish this video and get it out to you guys, so that's why I'm just going to go ahead, even though I haven't actually finished it. So I also did read The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, because that was also on Namjoon's book list, and this one for me was all about the vibes. I don't think, I mean, there's actually records of T.S. Eliot saying that it's more about, it's like an old man's grumbling, because so many people have tried to interpret it and what it means, and I definitely feel that it's just an old man's grumbling. I think that there's a lot of truth to that, but nevertheless I enjoyed reading it. It was very musical in a sense. You could really feel the tiredness with life in this poem, and so yeah, I could see, I bet Namjoon probably had a great time dissecting it when he read it, but for me it was more just about the vibes, and I enjoyed reading it. There's a lot of like longing in the poem, and it's very moody, and there are about 1 million references to other sources, and I just don't think that I really think it was all contributing to the mood of how he was feeling when he wrote it, and not so much about the meaning behind all the references and stuff like that. I think it was really all about the mood. That's just my opinion. Anyways, I really, before I finish off this vlog, want to read at least one thing that's like specifically Korean, a translated Korean work. So I'm going to try Familiar Things by Hwang Yong. So we'll see how it goes. I'm very intrigued by the synopsis. So I'll let you know what I think of that one, and I'll talk to you soon. Hello there guys, it is now November 8th at 6 p.m. and it is time to finish off this vlog. I have so enjoyed reading like RM these past several months. This vlog has been a long time in the making, as you know, but I finally finished the last book and it was my favorite that I read for this whole video. It was so good. It's called Familiar Things by Yong. What an incredible book. I hope that RM actually has gotten a chance to read this one because it really wowed me, and I'm excited to check out some more Korean things off of his shelf because, like I said, this was my favorite thing and I definitely want to find more Korean books. So this one is following a family of 3, and really it ends up really following just 2 of them because the father of the family gets sent to a kind of a re-education camp, it sounds like, in Korea. I feel like this book is questioning some of the things that were happening in the 80s in Korea. It's set during the 80s. The first Super Mario games make an appearance in this novel, so that's how I could date it to the 80s. And it's about the father and his mother who are left behind when the father is sent to the re-education camp, and they can't make it after the father has been taken away. So they end up living in the city dump, and they live as trash pickers there, and it's just incredibly heartbreaking to see all of the crazy unhealthy conditions that they are living in. There's this scene where, you know how there's flies at the dump? Well, they have a plane going over the dump and dumping poison on the flies, and the flies are just falling out of the air. And the children think that this is really interesting, so they go outside to watch. And you're just like, your heart is breaking as you realize, yeah, these children are getting poisoned right now because it's the 80s and they don't necessarily know how bad that is for people. And honestly, nobody cares about the people at the dump anyways. These are like the least cared for children that you can imagine. It's just really heartbreaking. I feel like it's a very environmentally conscious novel because it's really talking about the effect that human waste is having on the planet. And there's a little bit of like magical realism in there, and you really get attached to the characters, particularly the young son. We're really seeing the story through the son's point of view as he's trying to survive and to not become, you know, basically a deadbeat. He's kind of struggling against that. He's seeing friends of his at the dump, not really friends, but like other kids at the dump who are pretty much going that direction. And he's like, I don't want that to happen to me, but it probably will. So yeah, it's just really intense and really sad. And I don't know why everybody isn't talking about this book because I thought it was incredible and I would highly recommend it to anybody. And I just thought it was really beautiful. So and like I said, there were other books that I really enjoyed or thought were interesting from RM, including Please Look After Mom and 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. Really enjoyed or thought they were interesting at least, but this one was so good. That is it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. Let me know down below if you've read anything because of RM or if you're now planning to. I would love to hear what you're planning to read. I will probably continue reading books from his bookshelf, especially if they are Korean authors. I feel like he's a really good place to discover Korean authors, and he has such star power that he can bring authors like this to like a wider variety of readers like us. So I'd love to talk to you guys in the comments. So take care. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.